Functional Fitness for Life. We're talking today about building your fitness lifestyle and measuring process beyond the scale. Duan, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thanks for having me back.
Let's start with the first one there, building your fitness lifestyle. How do you see that happening
So,
from the
Rian,
beginning, that journey?
this is a question I get a lot with people signing up for BattleFit or just trying to understand, is it something they want to do and how do they start, like a broad term question. So this is one I had to think about, because for every person it's obviously different, but I had some core point. I don't know if you can hear the police car, but it's going crazy there. There you go.
Maybe they're looking,
Anyway.
I hope they're not looking for you.
I'm hidden well. Anyway, so I was thinking, like, how can I get this across to the people listening, maybe that want to start, more than people that already is into it, and then also people that is into it that they can benefit from these answers as well. So more of like a broad term answer. But the thing is, when you create your fitness routine, and this is something I had to answer myself when I created BattleFit, like, how do you do this? And the key points, it's not an extreme overall, it's not a major commitment it becomes, but it's just something small. It's about building consistency, small habits consistently, and then growing those habits. Because you might look at someone that does a 100-kilometer race, or even take someone like our instructors, that lone operator that does it every Saturday, and then you would think, how the hell did I do that every week? Nobody started then. Yes. Nobody started. It started for everyone small, and it builds into a habit. So a consistent habit that you build over time, building the habit becomes important. And what I mean by that, if I just break it down in my head, is the small habit that you build. Once you've built that small habit, the job then becomes of building that habit. So forget about, how am I going to gym 20 times a day? Start with once a day. The once will build on itself to twice, to 3 times, to 4 times. And then the workout within the hour will also build. So at the beginning of your journey, just focus on building consistency. So it can be a 10-minute walk for someone, 5-minute walk. It can be 15-minute aerobics class at the gym. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter to me. As long as you consistently do it, your body will then get fitter and your mind would start accepting what's happening. And then you'll go from 15 to 20 minutes, 20 to 25. And before you know it, you're into a whole routine. But it started with just consistently showing up. Now, there's a few points before, once you now start showing up, you have to ask yourself a certain few questions, and that's how you determine how to start a weight exercise. How active am I? And what I mean by that is, if I take an 18-year-old schoolboy, his fitness routine at a starting point would look a lot different than a 60-year-old man with a shoulder injury or a knee injury, or that hasn't been training for 20 years. It doesn't matter. Don't let that be the deciding factor. It's just, where do you start? So an 18-year-old boy will join a class, he'll smash it, he'll go up quicker, and he'll end up in the high-intensity class in 2 weeks. The 60-year-old man would do 6 months of 10 minutes 30 times a week. It doesn't matter. We're both going to be at the same ending. And what I mean by that is, I want to use an example quick. There was a guy that joined Lone Operator. I won't say his name, but his surname was Brits. He moved, it was my neighbor from next door. Now, he was about 130 kilograms, very unfit, smoker, drinker, not to judge, I don't care what you do in your personal life, but fitness-wise, he was as bad as it gets for a young 30-year-old man. He then joined Lone Operator through me, and he was extremely stressed about the 2.4-kilometer run, the push-up. The first day you do like a fitness analysis. Again, they teach you where you are. There's no failing, but he wanted to perform. So he showed up and he said to me, it's 4 months away or 5 months away. What can he do? And I said to him, well, come train with me every day on my program. This is where BattleFit started, by the way. That's where I got the whole idea with him, because it was a complete unfit, no healthy conscience, blank paper. He then started training with me every day. That man was sore, but he showed up. At the beginning, he couldn't do a push-up. He did lady push-up. eventually, after 3 or 4 months, he did 1,000 push-ups with me for time. So he progressed.
Wow.
And that's where I saw consistency and ego. Hide your ego. Doesn't matter if you have to start on lady push-ups. That's where you're going to end.
Yes.
But then the 2.4 kilometer came up. That boy couldn't run 100 kilometers. 100 meters. Like really, it was bad. Like we have a little block in our complex, 200 meters. He had to walk half, run off. So it was a progress. We got there the day I ran it. I think me and Roo ran it in 12 minutes, the 2.4 kilometers or 11 minutes or whatever. And to my astonishing, Hannes came in at 13 minutes. He smashed it. And he's a big boy, but super fit. He then liked it. He continued training with me. There's a lot that happened in between, but I'm just running through it. He came to me and said he wants to do a 21-kilometer race. How can we do it? I said to him, just show up. Consistently ran. We did the 21-kilometer race. I beat him by about 40 minutes, but he did it. Forward to the end of the year, we ran an 80-kilometer race. Hannes beat me by 2 minutes.
What?
Yeah, an 80-kilometer race. Literally within a year. So obviously he showed immense fortitude. He showed up every day, saw, not listening, but he had an end goal. And this is where my reason comes in. Find your reason. When you build a fitness routine, find a why. More than a reason, a why. And last episode, if you guys go back, I said, don't let it be a race because the race ends. So in Battlefit, we train for anything because we don't know. Our reason is almost, to put it morbidly, our reason is protecting our family. So, or your loved ones, or yourself. It's a situation that can come up, and how dangerously fit and dangerously trained am I to take my set of skills and apply it to any situation.
Yes.
So if you have that in your mind, you don't have a race need because the situation, whatever it is, can happen at any time. So in my opinion, having a why, understanding why you do something like Battlefit, for instance, and not a race need. A race is a thing that builds up to it. So when you have your why, there's a few principles that you must apply. And understanding, I just want to get back to this, understanding, okay, let's get to the principles and I'll bring it back, Rob. The principles is life happens. You have to be flexible. And like I said last time, even if you miss one session, it's not going to make you unfit, just as one good session is not going to make you fit. It's consistently training that will give you the benefits. But so be flexible in your training program. If you wake up and you're not feeling 100%, it's okay. Be flexible to change, but remember to adapt. And then the next day, catch it up and make sure not to miss because of dumb reasons like laziness or anything. That's the next principle will be preparedness. So pack your clothes the night before. It sounds stupid, but you wake up not wanting to run and you can't find your shoes. And that'll be enough to not go run that morning. I know it sounds ridiculous, but your body wants it anyway out. So I'm the most unorganized person in the world, but I always tell the guys, when it comes to my workout, the shoes are ready. So don't give yourself a way out.
Yes.
When you build your routine, make sure, and then balance. So this is very important.
So
if you think of a body
preparation,
it's part of the preparation, and yeah, let's call that part of the preparation. Because if you are prepared for, let's say, you see the weather's bad, like today, it's raining. Most people won't run. The night before, I packed my raincoat, so my mind knows there's no excuse. It's going to run. And it's almost easier putting on your tackies, putting on your raincoat, and just go for the run. But if you weren't prepared, you wake up, look at the weather, and you go, oh, can't run in the rain. I don't even know where's my raincoat or whatever. And then it's easy for the body. So prepared, be flexible, be prepared. And then we get to variety, which is a key aspect. So if you think of a bodybuilder, he does chest on Monday, then Tuesday he does, for instance, back, Wednesday off, Thursday legs. The reason they do that is they get to rest while not resting. So they rest their chest while they train their legs. The problem when you do a full body workouts or cardio or anything is all the muscles work. So being mindful of how your body feels and taking enough rest is very important. Now, that's not lazy rest. That is built into your program. So at Battlefit and my methodology, we train 80% zone 2, 20% other zones. So if you take off, for instance, Wednesday and Sunday on a consistent basis, that should be more than enough time to recover. But when you really feel your body's training, take that day off and recover. Listen to your body. The problem when you start, you don't really know what the difference is between pain, I'm lazy, I don't want to train, and what's really time to rest. So it's something you build over time. But that I can't help you with it. As the habit builds, you will start learning what you should feel like and not feel like. And off of that, you can start building
you also start understanding your body better as you go.
Yeah, 100%. It's like I can't, some guys, I mean, 10 years ago, I never took off. I trained 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. Sundays on recovery days, I'll go run 4 hours. But getting older, I started learning what it shouldn't feel like. So there's a big difference between body sore, meaning lactic acid, like I'm stiff, but you can train other things, it's just uncomfortable, and something like where the heart rate starts dropping because you're getting sick or you overtrained, you feel tired all the time. You start learning what you shouldn't feel like, but that you can only learn by yourself. I can give you tips and clues, but it's actually something you discover on your own.
Of course, yes. And it differs from person to person.
100%. Some guys feel it more in their muscles. Like for me, for instance, when I know I'm starting to get overtrained, is because I'm always motivated, even if I don't feel like it. But I can start seeing my sleep just completely gets messed up. Like I struggle to sleep. I get 4 hours. I wake up at 3, can't sleep. Then I know it's like, that's my way. Now, I'm not even saying maybe I'm wrong. The doctor can tell me you're wrong. But in my experience, over 20 years of hard training, when I feel that, it's normally my triggers. Yeah. Some guys stop eating. They lose their appetite. They struggle to intake food. So for each person, you'll quickly figure it out. It's something that you'll start feeling. You'll make a small change, or you take a day off, and boom, you're ready again. And you go, aha. So it's something on your journey that you're going to discover, which is excellent for a scenario of a zombie apocalypse, and you have to fight for 3 days. You know exactly what not to feel and when to take a break. So it's something you have to anyway go through and experience in long races, endurance races, or whatever comes over your way.
Well, that's knowledge. In this case, knowledge of what works for your body and how your body responds to it, and how you then respond to that. I think it's actually kind of exciting. You can understand how people get hooked on that in a way.
Yeah, and if you start playing with it, like I know the Navy SEALs, for instance, have a test. You can watch it. There's a guy called Matlow on YouTube. It's a Swedish climber that does all the special forces. And in the one test, Magnus Matlow or something. Very interesting.
Yes, I've watched several of his videos, as a matter of fact. Yes.
So there's one video where they put him with a ruck bag on a treadmill with an incline, and they just keep upping the speed.
Yes.
And what it does is it basically teaches when you think you can't, you can. And it really pushes you to the limit of where you then really can't. But there's something extremely valuable in understanding where your limits are. And I mean true limits. Not like run 5K, think I'm tired, I walk home. I mean to a point where you can go watch those videos where the guys fall off the treadmill and they can't walk for an hour just to recover. Now, I won't suggest that for everyone, but as you build your fitness journey, you're going to start wondering, how far can I push? And that's why people go, why would you run so far, Duan? Why? You're a big guy. Why run 100 kilometers? I didn't do it for uni. I didn't do it to have a medal or to sit here and brag and write a program. I wanted to know, can I, when the time arrives, run it? And if I run it, how would I run it? And if I fail 10 times, who cares? I'm not doing it to impress anyone else. I'm doing it so if I have to do it one day, can I do it? Yes. How did I do it? I know exactly. And that's way more. I think when you start your fitness journey, you start for the medals and the accomplishments and the, hey guys, I did the comrades or whatever. And then when you start doing it, you realize, screw the people. They're anyway too lazy. Half the people that judge you sit on their asses and do nothing. So it's more than it becomes for yourself. Can I beat that time? Can I hit that goal? Can I? And once you hit it, now can I do that? And you start pushing your body. So you start playing a video game in real life with your body.
Yes.
And it's the most addictive thing in the world. Like if someone says to me, you can't do 1,000 push-ups, as crazy as I am, I have to then. And then I'll start doing 100 and then 120. And I realize, hey, if I just keep at this, I can get there. And then at 500, I forgot about them. And now the challenge is about me and my body. So,
exactly.
That's again finding your why. It comes back to that All I want the people to do, and for that matter, don't even join Battle Fitness. Join Battle Fitness. Doesn't matter. I'm not trying to sell you Battle Fitness. I'm trying to say just start. If you do it let me give you a good example for someone that's listening that think they can't train, they're too old or too unfit. Start by doing 2 to 3 times a week, 10 to 15 minutes. That's it. Every 4 weeks from there, push it up by either 500 meters if you do distance, or by 5 minutes. That's it. That's all you have to do. First of all, you're going to improve your cardiovascular system by, I don't know how much, over 50% by just training. And then slowly but surely, you're going to forget about this stupid rant of mine. And you're going to start going, but can I do 30? Can I do 34? Can I do 38? And before you know it, you're at an hour 3 times a week. And then you go, can I do 4 times a week? And then you take someone that sat on a couch, wonder if I can even do one day. And you all of a sudden have a 6-day go. I see it on Battlefit regularly. People join and they post their burpee times and they moan 50 burpees. Then I put 300 and they smash it. And 5 months ago, they moaned about 50. So all I ask when you build your fitness routine is understand where you're at is not where you're going to end. Just start. Form that habit. By forming a good habit, all the healthy benefits like better sleep, losing weight, looking better, feeling better is a benefit. But it all starts with just forming that small habit, and don't allow yourself not to do it. So if you wake up on a 10-minute walk, you don't want to do it. You have no idea how many times I've cried walking because I don't want to do it. But you just do it.
Yeah.
And then I promise you, and whoever listens to this, I challenge you, when you're done with that run or that walk or that 10-minute workout, you will feel great. And you will thank yourself.
I mean, I don't know how many years ago, 5, 6 years ago, I saw this challenge. It's a push-up challenge, to do 100 continuous push-ups. That's the result that you were working towards. So it's a whole schedule over 30 days. We build up. You do. I can't remember the amounts, but you'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with like a 20-second rest or something in between. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So eventually, with the whole thing, you did about 400 push-ups and then back down again until you just do 2 and 1. And then the last one you can hardly do because you're pretty buggered by then. And after 30 days, I was very hyped. I'm going to do the test. And the test is obviously to see if you can do 100 push-ups without stopping. And I did 70. Yeah,
That's amazing.
I was so disgusted because I had it in my mind, I'm going to do 100. I'm doing the program, so I'm going to do 100. I had to do it three or four times. Can't remember, 3 or 4 times. And then when I did the test, I actually did, I think, 110 or something without
there you go.
I was so stoked.
It's just the best feeling ever.
Yes,
I promise you didn't even care what your friends think. For yourself, it was a big feeling. Just to go, I can do it.
Totally.
And I mean, it's really, I keep hammering it, but age and weight and injuries, it's not even an excuse, because I mean, some people really don't understand they can push past it, or there's ways of getting around it. So if you have injuries and stuff, you can work around it. If your legs are sore, you can do the push-up challenge. If your push-ups are sore, you can go walk. It's just keeping you'll be surprised by, for instance, if you have lower back problems. So I had a massive lower back problem in L5, and to a point where they said they don't know if you can train anymore. That's why I started the body weight training, because I couldn't do the CrossFit weights anymore. And I thought my world's ending, because I was this strong, crazy guy with no switch off. And how am I going to train now? And I started doing running. That's why I started running, and body weight. And I must tell you, I was at every physio, everything, but the running saved my back. It made the muscle stronger. Obviously, I had a good physio to guide me, not go run 10 and now guided me into it. Because I was always a runner, but now I'm talking running like twice a day. And he guided me into it. And again, 5% every 2 weeks up, not major jumps. You just do it smart. and my back started feeling better. So someone, for instance, let's say like a shoulder injury, if it's inflammation, the walking can help the body with the inflammation. So if it's not, if it's impingement, it's impingement. I'm not, the walking is not a miracle. I'm just saying by sometimes adjusting your training program, it can help with something else.
Yes.
And you don't lose your habit. Because people, when you lose that habit, I don't care how disciplined you are, how motivated you are, it's extremely hard to reform a habit or just to form a habit. But once it's formed, it is like people ask me again, how do I roll 20 hours a week jiu-jitsu? Because the body's sore. And I was like, well, I didn't start then. Started with 2 classes a week and then an hour of private. And then I build up and now I understand when to roll hard, when not to roll hard. It's not 20 hours of competition rolling in your mind. I'm fighting for my life 20 hours. It's not what it is. But by doing it, building the habit then started building. And that's what I said on the beginning of this episode. By walking 10 minutes, you are going to get bored of walking for 10 minutes, so you're going to start jogging. Now, the 10 minutes, you're like, this is too quick. I'm going to do 15 minutes because you have the same feeling. And then 20. And so you form a habit, and then the habit starts forming. And that's the most important part. It's just to start that habit, and then the habit will grow. People think they have to start and do 10-kilometer run. Okay, let's talk quickly about that. BattleFit principles. You go and run now as an unfit guy. I take you to the gym. I did this on Friday. I did a workout with one of the BattleFit guys that had an injury. And then I missed our podcast like a pawpaw. So then I was angry and I hit the workout where I did 1,000 squats with a kettlebell, goblet squat. It was one of the best workouts of my life, but the most stupid. I couldn't walk Saturday, Sunday, and today I can barely walk. So I missed 3 days of training because I was being a gym hero, right? Other people look at me, I can do 1,000. Now, great, I did 1,000 and the legs are tired. Stupid. I missed 3 days of training. So if you take someone unfit and I make them run a 5K and they go, oh, I could never do that, but they're out for 4 days, that's not good. Rather walk a 1 kilometer consistently every day for 4 days. It's going to mean a lot more. So when you start your journey, you look at videos of David Goggins and Jocko and I don't know who, and you think, I'm going to smash this workout. Then you're out for 3 days. It's not what it is. It's low intensity, controlled heart rates, not getting injured, because if you get injured, you're out. So it's consistency over time is what we chase.
I saw a video of David Goggins now in last week somewhere. He just ran the Moab race in the US. That 240-mile race.
And he did it in an insane time as well.
It's crazy. 240 miles in the desert.
Yeah, Moab.
All that heat. Yeah.
He duct tapes his own feet. He broke his feet he did 100 miles for 4 weeks every weekend or something like that, or 40 marathons in a row, something ridiculous, but he broke his feet. And then when the doctors came to him, he was like, no, he duct taped it and he ran more. The guy's on another level. But again, go look at his journey where he started. Started with like 2 kilometers a day. He was a fat guy, wanted to be a Navy SEAL. People laughed at him and he started.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So if you look, everything, even him, he runs there's another guy you can follow, Cam Haines, and there's Courtney Dewwater. She's the best marathon runner in the world, ultra marathon. She ran, I think it was the Moab, and she beat the guys by 2 days.
2 days.
She was on Joe Rogan explaining it. It's absolutely insane. But it all comes down to consistency. They consistently train at a pace where you don't get injured. So my point with the injured, why I'm hammering it, your training has to be fun. It's got to be, let's call it the 80-20 again. 80% enjoyable, 20% challenging. So if you don't enjoy your training, you won't form that habit. If you don't enjoy it, change it. If you hate running, cycle. If you just keep changing it up, 1 day cycle, 1 day run, 1 day swim, keep changing it up and keeping it interesting. Forget about the days. I think the big problem people have is they have an image in their head. Like I'm taking an example now, bodybuilder on the beach. He wants to look like that on December. There's tons of stuff he uses and things he does and to accomplish that look. For you as a beginner, just form the habits. The body will start shaping, and from there you can go in a direction where you want. But overall health and overall fitness. And when I talk about lone operator, we talk about BattleFit, we talk about survivability factor. It doesn't matter if you have a boop knee. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you can perform when it's needed, your family will probably survive. And to the end of everything, why do we all train? It's for better health. And when you need the fitness, whether it's playing with your son on the beach or being in a situation, you have it.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. The scale, don't measure with a scale. One thing a guy always says to me, which never made sense to me, is they say muscle weighs more than fat. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing ever, because a pound is a pound. So a pound of fat is a pound of muscle. But density differs. So if you look, I quickly Googled it just to explain it. 1.1 grams per milliliter of fat is 0.9 grams of muscle, basically. So it's way more dense. What I mean by that is if you lose half a pound of fat, but you add half a pound of muscle, on the scale, you look the same. It will be the same weight. But in your look, you look a lot better. So forget about the scale. Throw that scale out. Don't care about the scale. As a matter of fact, Hannes beat me by 2 minutes on an 80-kilometer race with, I had a six-pack and he didn't. But he still won. So looks is not what decides who's the fittest or how you can perform. It's mindset, consistently training, and shutting the body off because you've been there before. And you know what I mean. You see it a lot with, like, I'm going to take an example completely away from fitness, but there's a video going around in Russia where they were bombing Ukraine, or Ukraine bombing Russia. I don't know, they all speak Russian. But the first video, the bombs fall and the guys fall flat on the ground and they covering their heads and they're running. Then the video goes 6 months later. The bombs fall, the guys just walk. Why? People go, oh, they're numb. No, they're not numb. They've been there. They're used to it. They've adapted.
Yes.
Now, fitness works the same. You run your first 10K. Oh, my legs are wobbly. Go run 100. Your legs will be wobbly the whole time. It's okay. I've been there before. But you have to run the 10, then the 15, then to realize, oh, shit, this doesn't go away.
To get there, yes.
Yeah. So when you start your journey, so you'll start understanding your body, you'll start understanding fitness. And then say you hit a situation where, like I've always used the example, your car's without fuel, you have to carry that can. Your arms are burning. It's okay. I've been here 1,000 times before. Switch arms. My legs are wobbly. It's okay. Take a little bit of sugar, whatever, because I've been there before. So, and again, your 10-minute walk on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at that fitness level is the same as my hour run Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's the beauty about fitness. It almost meets you where you are. And you will progress, and so will your body progress, and then the time will progress. But at the beginning of it, your 10 minutes is just as valuable as David Goggins' 5 hours. Because it takes him 5 hours to reach that level of fatigue, where you can do it in 10 minutes. So see it as a blessing when you start.
Yeah, instead of, because I suppose it's human nature, but also because of all these influences that you see in your face the whole time, you tend to compare yourself to them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a big mistake. You should just be doing it for yourself. Focus on your own journey. And
go do yourself a favor and look at top athletes. And I'm not talking. Go look at top athletes. Go look at runners. Go look at top Navy SEAL performers. Go look at, and not David Goggins now with all the sponsors. Go look when they performed, when he was in active duty. Go look at all these guys, what they look like. That is peak male performance. Not one has a six-pack. There's no time for six-pack. You know what a six-pack is? Six-pack is little fat. It's dumb. You need fat to burn for energy when you don't have food. No point you can get the girl, but you can't get to the mountain that has the girl on you.
That's why these strong men hardly ever have a visible six-pack.
100%. And they perform. They build. That guy doesn't care what he looks like.
Exactly. And
just
I
get crazy when I see these things. And I don't want to use an example here, but at our last BattleFit Games, there was a big boy bodybuilder. He looks incredible. And take nothing away from him. The amount of discipline to get that lean is also a story on its own. So in his line of sport, I've got the world respect for him. But on fitness, BattleFit, I think I don't want to lie, but I think around 2 of the first workout, he fell out. He tapped, he quit. And it was just muscle eats oxygen. It's a simple equation. It's science. Muscle, it doesn't translate well to endurance or even intense fitness. Can he lift heavy objects from A to B once or twice? Yes, he can. Way better than I will ever can. But can he do it 1,000 times?
Exactly. But I mean, you know, his bodybuilding journey is different. They want a bodybuilder
100%.
is basically, his body is effectively a display case
Yeah.
for the judges.
And it's the hardest thing in the world to do.
That's hard work. Now,
Yeah.
when I see guys who are obvious bodybuilders, doesn't matter the size, some are bigger, some are smaller, but if I see a guy that's doing obvious bodybuilding, I have a lot of respect for that because
The discipline. Oof.
That's a hard journey with all the eating habits, and they really take it to a different level with the eating and stuff.
Insane. No, that's what I'm saying. In his line of fitness, he's excellent.
Yes.
And he's disciplined. But for survivability factor, it's almost a zero.
Yes.
It's almost putting you back. Like there's another guy in Lone Operator that almost won the day. His name is Wes. He showed up in a jean and fellies.
Yeah.
No running shoes, and he performed. I was astonished. It was I was shocked at how he performed. And he doesn't look like an athlete. It's not saying but he just looks like a normal guy. And he almost won the day. But that's where I saw and consistency. When you understand why you are doing this, it makes all the difference. Now the influencers, and obviously they're chasing sponsorship. Nothing away from them again. But the look they put out as fitness is not fitness. You go look at Olympic. I'm not talking the sprinters, like triathlons or what's the decathlon type of guys. They really perform long, like everyday fitness task for a long period of time, not a 100-meter sprint or something. Go look what they look like, build-wise. That's the peak performance. It's nothing to do with your six-pack or your big pecs or your biceps. Look, it's nice to have them and go for it.
Of course, yes.
Point, like, look at Gerard, one of our instructors. He looks incredible. Good. It doesn't, but that's a benefit.
He's a pretty buff guy. Look, genetics does play a role.
100%.
But at the end of the day, if you can just get to a good level of fitness, you've basically winning. That's it.
Yeah. So today we covered the I just want to read the question that I said to you. Today we covered the building your BattleFit lifestyle. That is just building a small habit, creating that habit, then the habit will start growing. And we also did measuring process. Like, don't get on a scale. Let your performance speak. And again, like I say, a scale is a joke because literally a poop like that will disappear for a little bit of muscle like that. And you think, I'm getting no gains. The scale, don't even, I can't remember. I think the last time I got on a scale was before my fights where I have to make weight. And that's got nothing to do with my training. It's just making weight for the week.
Yes.
So other than that, please, people, anyone that listens to this, stay away from the scale. Let your mood, how you perform speak. Doesn't matter. And if you have a boopy, but you run the marathon in 3 hours, that's it. Who cares? Run it with a boop. Who cares?
I chucked mine in the bin after I got on it and it started laughing at me. So I just decided, I don't need to associate myself with you anymore. So I
negativity. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You can identify as skinny if you want to.
Yeah. I can identify.
But yeah, so that's it from me.
Well, thank you so much.
We'll do an episode on everything, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and as always, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, smash that bell icon so you can get notifications of future videos, and you'll find the contact details for BattleFit showing on top of the screen for the duration of the video. And for anything Lone Operator training wise, check out the link in the description below. We look forward to seeing you either on a range one of these days or at one of the BattleFit games. Check it out. Duan, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thanks for having me, Leon.